All right, diving in again today. This time, we're tackling a book you suggested, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about Toltec wisdom and finding, well, a happier and more fulfilling life, or so it promises. Let's see what we can find.
Well, this book doesn't waste any time. It
Mm,
kind of jumps right into the deep end with this idea that we're all domesticated by society.
yeah.
Like, that's what shapes our whole reality.
Domesticated is, that's a strong word. What exactly does Ruiz even mean by that?
He compares it to training a dog, actually.
Okay.
Rewards when we follow the rules, punishments when we don't, but goes way deeper than just, basic etiquette or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about, like, absorbing society's whole belief system,
Yeah.
its values, even its fears, often without even realizing it's happening.
It's like we're all just running on this pre-programmed programming from the moment we're born. Does that mean we're just robots, just following a script?
Not exactly robots, but Ruiz calls this programming our dream of the planet. It's kind of the shared reality we all create together through these beliefs.
Mm.
The problem is, this dream often turns into a bit of a nightmare,
I see, yeah.
filled with self-doubt and anxieties, conflict, all that.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see where this is going. We're all carrying around this baggage from society's dream, and, well, it's messing with our happiness.
Yeah, think of the example he gives. There's this little girl who loves to sing, but one day her mom's totally stressed, needs some quiet, snaps at her. Shut up. You have an ugly voice.
Oh, yeah.
Just an offhand comment, right? But that can create a lasting belief in the child's mind. She might never see again, convinced she's just not good enough.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful example of how strong words and beliefs can be. So how do we break free from this domesticated state? Is that where the four agreements come in?
Exactly. Ruiz gives us these agreements as tools.
Oh,
Tools to dismantle all that negativity and create like our own dream of heaven, not literal heaven, of course.
right.
It's more about creating a reality based on joy and genuine freedom. He even compares our negative beliefs, those limiting beliefs, to a parasite, like feeding off our negative emotions.
Okay, that's a pretty vivid image. So agreement number one, it's all about the words we use. Be impeccable with your word. Sounds simple, but what does impeccable really mean here?
It's deeper than just not cursing.
Yeah.
It's about being conscious and truthful with your words, like choosing to align them with love instead of fear. Ruiz believes words have real power. He even calls them magic.
Interesting. And what happens when other people aren't so impeccable with their words? How do we handle that negativity? Is that where the second agreement comes in?
You got it. Don't take anything personally.
Mm.
Might sound counterintuitive, but this one is crucial for finding some peace.
I can imagine. Easier said than done, though, right? How can you not take it personally when someone criticizes you or just says something hurtful?
This is where understanding that whole dream of the planet thing really helps. Everyone's living in their own version of it. Their words, their actions, they're more about their reality than about you.
So even their criticism, it might actually be more about their insecurities than about anything I did wrong.
Exactly. Ruiz says taking things personally, it comes from giving yourself too much importance, like thinking everything revolves around you.
Hmm.
But usually it doesn't.
Right.
He even says he doesn't take praise or criticism personally anymore because he just knows his own truth.
Hmm.
It's about developing that inner knowing. Like external opinions can't define your worth.
That makes sense, but I feel like that takes a lot of self-awareness.
It's a journey. But think of it like watching a movie. You know it's not real, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get all wrapped up in the character's drama. You have to create that same kind of mental distance in real life. Choose not to internalize the negativity.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could lead to, like, less stress, more peace of mind. But what about those times when we misinterpret things? We read between the lines and create whole dramas in our heads. Is that where agreement number three comes in?
Bingo. Don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
We try to fill in the blanks with our own interpretations, and it just leads to misunderstandings, conflict, the whole nine yards. Ruiz says it's because we're afraid to ask for clarification.
I guess it's easier to invent a story than to admit you don't understand, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And those assumptions, they spiral out of control. You end up believing your own inventions, reacting based on faulty info.
Yeah.
He used this example, seeing someone smile at you at the mall.
Yeah.
You instantly create this whole fantasy in your head about them being attracted to you.
Right.
But in reality, they're just being friendly.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
So our minds are constantly creating these narratives, and we rarely stop to question them. What's the cure for this, assuming?
Clear communication. Simple as that. Ask questions, get clarification, express what you need directly. Be responsible for your own understanding instead of just guessing. And this ties back to that first agreement about impeccable words, too.
Right.
The clearer we are, the less room there is for misinterpreting each other.
Okay, so less assuming, more talking. Makes sense. But what about when things just don't go perfectly? We're all human, we mess up sometimes. Is that where agreement number 4 comes in?
Absolutely. Always do your best. Now, this doesn't mean striving for perfection.
Right.
It's about recognizing that your best is going to change from day to day.
So some days my best will be amazing, and other days it'll be about getting through it.
Exactly. It's all about letting go of unrealistic expectations.
Hmm.
Overdoing it just leads to burnout, but not doing enough breeds guilt.
Yeah.
It's finding that balance.
It makes me think of that Buddhist story, the man asking how many hours of meditation it takes to transcend.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that one.
The master tells him, if you meditate 4 hours a day, maybe you'll transcend in 10 years. The guy, thinking he's clever, says, what if I meditate 8 hours a day?
And the master says,
Then you'll probably transcend in 20 years. So it's not about pushing ourselves to the limit, but about finding that sweet spot where effort is sustainable, enjoyable even.
it's about the journey, not just the destination. Finding joy in the action itself. And that applies to everything, from personal growth to work. How many people only work for that paycheck?
Yeah,
They never find any satisfaction in the work itself.
that's a great point. Makes me think about how I approach my own goals, you know? Am I constantly striving or am I actually finding joy in the process?
That's the question, isn't it? And when you stumble, remember that fourth agreement.
Yeah.
You did your best in that moment.
Mm.
Given your energy, your circumstances, it's about being kind to yourself as much as it is about effort. It's fascinating, how these agreements kind of build on each other.
Yeah.
Impeccability with your word, it's like the foundation. Not taking things personally. It shields you from all that negativity. Avoiding assumptions keeps communication clear. And doing your best, that encourages self-compassion and helps you focus on the journey, not just the destination.
I'm starting to see how all the pieces fit together, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect. It's more like striving to be more aware, more intentional, more loving in how we navigate, like, everything.
That's it. And Ruiz doesn't just leave us with this list of rules.
Right.
He actually paints this, beautiful picture of what life could be like if we really embrace these agreements. He calls it the new dream.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We've been talking about parasites and baggage, so I'm definitely ready for some optimism. What does this new dream look and feel like?
Imagine waking up every morning and you actually feel genuinely happy, like at peace.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror and you appreciate your body exactly as it is. You go through your day with confidence and ease,
Nice.
pursuing your passions without worrying what anyone else thinks.
Wow, that does sound pretty amazing. But also a little idealistic, you know? Is it actually possible to live with that kind of freedom and joy?
Ruiz believes it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about everyone being, nice all the time.
Right.
It's more like a fundamental shift in how you perceive things. It's about choosing to see the world through the lens of love.
Okay, that sounds nice, but how do we actually make that shift? I mean, it seems kind of huge.
Small steps, consistent action. Remember, the 4 agreements are tools, Start small. Incorporate them into your daily life. Notice that negative self-talk and consciously choose more loving language.
Okay.
Release that need to always be right. And just start asking questions instead of making assumptions.
And forgive ourselves when we mess up, right?
Absolutely. We're all human. It's a journey, not a destination. You're going to fall back into old patterns sometimes. The key is to notice it without judgment, and gently guide yourself back.
Progress, not perfection.
You got it. And Ruiz reminds us, these agreements are a path to experiencing heaven on earth. He even says to visualize what that heaven would look and feel like personally for you.
I like that. It's like creating a blueprint for the life you want to live. So if I close my eyes right now and picture my heaven on earth, what should I be focusing on?
Think about the areas where you feel the most stuck, where you feel limited, unhappy.
Yeah.
What would it look like to be free in those areas?
Like, let's say I'm constantly comparing myself to others and just feeling inadequate.
Yeah.
My heaven would be a place where I embrace my own, unique qualities, celebrate my own successes.
That's it. It's letting go of those beliefs that are keeping you trapped and stepping into a reality where you feel confident, worthy, loved.
It's about creating that paradise within yourself,
Exactly.
regardless of what's happening externally. But how do we bridge that gap, you
It's
know?
consistently applying the four agreements. They aren't just abstract concepts. They're tools to change your thoughts, your words, your actions. As you shift that inner reality, your external reality will start to reflect it.
So it's not about like wishing our problems away. It's more like doing the inner work.
It's like planting a seed.
Okay.
You nurture it with love, water, sunlight, and eventually it blossoms into this beautiful flower. The four agreements are the seeds. And your effort, that's the nourishment that lets them grow.
I'm starting to see why this book has connected with so many people. It's not just about reading a self-help book, right? It's about like embarking on a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
And Rees doesn't just tell you what to do.
Right.
He offers these beautiful prayers,
Yeah.
visualizations to connect with this Toltec wisdom.
Oh, I'd love to hear more about that. Do you have a favorite one?
There's this powerful one called The Prayer for Love. It's a story, an allegory about meeting this wise old man who just embodies unconditional love.
Okay, I'm already feeling more relaxed just thinking about it. Tell me more.
Close your eyes for a second. Imagine walking on a warm, sunny day. You hear birds singing, the breeze rustling leaves, maybe the sound of a river nearby.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
You're drawn towards the river.
Yeah.
And as you get closer, you see an old man sitting there, meditating.
What's he like?
He just radiates peace, wisdom. His eyes are closed, but there's this beautiful light coming from his head, filled with vibrant colors.
Wow. Okay, I can picture it.
You almost don't want to disturb him, but he senses you're there and opens his eyes. And his gaze, it's full of love and compassion. And he just smiles gently.
I'm feeling calm just imagining this.
You're curious about the light, that aura of love around him.
Yeah.
And you ask him how he cultivates such a radiant presence. He tells you that years ago he asked his own teacher the same thing.
So this wisdom is being passed down.
It's a timeless truth, that goes beyond cultures and traditions.
I like that. So what did the old man's teacher tell him?
He told him a story. He said his teacher opened his own chest, gently took out his heart, and removed this tiny, beautiful flame from within. Then he opened the old man's chest, took out his heart, and placed the flame inside.
Wow, that's a beautiful image.
It represents the passing of love, like a sacred flame from one heart to another.
So the flame symbolizes love.
Yes.
Yes.
Pure, unconditional love.
Yeah.
The kind that lives inside each of us.
What happened to the old man after he received the flame?
He said as soon as it was placed in his heart, he felt this rush of love so intense, it purified everything it touched. He felt connected to his body, whole, grateful. But the love didn't stop there. It just kept growing, expanding outward until it included everything around him.
Like it had this ripple effect, spreading out from his heart.
Exactly. He started sharing that love with everything. Trees, flowers, animals, the earth, the water, the air, the sun, the moon, the stars, all of humanity.
Wow.
And as he shared it, it kept growing inside him too, like expanding his capacity to love even more.
I love this story. Okay, where do I, the listener, come in?
Now imagine the old man turns to you. He opens his chest, gently takes out his heart, that flame still burning bright inside.
Okay.
He opens your chest, takes out your heart, and places that flame inside.
I'm getting chills. This is powerful.
Feel that warmth, that radiance spreading through you. It's the flame of unconditional love igniting in your own heart.
Yeah, I do feel it.
Now, as you feel that love growing within you, repeat these words.
Thank you, creator of the universe, for this life you've given me. Thank you for everything I've ever truly needed. Thank you for this body, this mind. Thank you for living inside me with all your love, your pure and boundless spirit, your warm and radiant light. Thank you for using my words, my eyes, my heart to share your love wherever I go. I love you just the way you are, and because I am your creation, I love myself just the way I am. Help me to keep the love and the peace in my heart, to make that love a new way of life so I can live in love for the rest of my life. Amen.
Take a deep breath. Let that love, that peace settle deep in your heart.
Wow, what a journey. It's like a reminder that love isn't something outside of us, It's not something you have to earn. It's already there, waiting.
Exactly. It's who we are. It's the source of our true power, our freedom. And that love, it's what fuels the new dream, that personal heaven on earth.
So how do we take this new dream and make it real?
By consistently applying the four agreements, day after day. Remember, change takes time. It's a process, a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
To where do we begin? What's the first step?
It all starts with awareness.
Mm.
Pay attention to your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Notice the patterns that create suffering in your life.
Like what kind of patterns?
Well, for example, notice that negative self-talk. How often do you criticize yourself?
Oh, way too often.
It's okay, we all do it. The first step is just noticing it, without judgment.
And then what? How do we change those patterns?
That's where that first agreement comes in. Be impeccable with your word. Start by changing the way you talk to yourself.
So instead of putting myself down for making mistakes, I offer myself words of encouragement.
Exactly. Instead of focusing on your flaws, acknowledge your strengths. Instead of dwelling on the past, choose to focus on the present moment.
It's like turning my inner critic into my inner cheerleader.
You got it. And as you start to shift that internal dialogue, you'll notice a ripple effect in how you interact with others.
Interesting.
You'll be less likely to gossip, criticize others, or just get caught up in negativity.
Because you're not feeding that negativity within yourself anymore.
Precisely. Now let's talk about the second agreement. Don't take anything personally.
This one feels tough.
Yeah.
How do we just stop taking things to heart, especially when someone's words or actions feel like a personal attack?
Remember that dream of the planet idea. Each person is living in their own reality, their own perception of the world.
So their behavior is more about them than me.
Yes, it's a reflection of their beliefs, their experiences, their emotional state, not personal.
But how do we actually believe that? How do we stop that knee-jerk reaction of feeling hurt or offended?
One thing that can help is visualizing a shield around yourself, a shield of love and compassion. When someone sends negativity your way, imagine it bouncing off that shield, unable to get through to your inner peace.
It's like a protective barrier between my feelings and the world.
As you practice not taking things personally, you'll find yourself reacting less and responding more.
What's the difference?
A reaction is impulsive, often fueled by anger, fear, hurt. A response is more measured, thoughtful, aligned with your values.
So choosing peace over drama.
You got it. And recognizing that you always have a choice in how you respond to any situation. Now, let's move on to the third agreement. Don't make assumptions.
Oh, this one's a big one for me. I'm definitely guilty of jumping to conclusions.
We all do it sometimes, but assumptions, they just lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, unnecessary drama.
So how do we break that habit?
By being more curious. Instead of filling in the blanks with your own interpretation, just ask questions. Seek clarification. Communicate honestly and openly.
No more mind reading or expecting others to just know what I'm thinking.
Exactly. It's about taking responsibility for your own understanding and giving others the benefit of the doubt. Assume good intentions until proven otherwise.
Okay, so more talking, less assuming. Got it. Now that fourth agreement, always do your best. This one can feel like a lot, especially when life gets busy.
Right. But remember, best doesn't mean perfect. It means giving what you can in each moment.
Okay.
Recognizing that your capacity will fluctuate, Depends on your energy levels, your circumstances, even your mood.
So some days my best will be like extraordinary, and other days it'll be about just getting by.
Exactly. The key is to let go of unrealistic expectations. Just embrace the present moment.
Showing up fully, whatever that looks like in that moment.
Yes. And celebrate your progress, no matter how small.
We're all works in progress, right?
Yep.
Constantly evolving, growing.
And that's what makes the journey so exciting. There's always something new to learn, to discover, to experience.
So we've talked about these four agreements, how they can change our lives from the inside out. But where do WE go from here? How do we take all this and actually use it?
It's like we've given you a map to buried treasure, but you still got to go out and find it. And the best part is, your treasure might look totally different from someone else's.
So there's no one right way to apply these agreements?
Nope. Maybe that first agreement, be impeccable with your word, that's the one that really speaks to you. Start paying attention to how you talk to yourself, how you talk to the people you care about. Are you using your words carelessly? Or even to, tear yourself or others down?
And if being impeccable with every word feels overwhelming, I guess you can always fall back on the fourth agreement. Just do your best for today. Maybe it's just one small change, like choosing a kinder word when you'd usually criticize.
Even a tiny change can shift your whole energy. And as you build momentum, maybe you tackle another agreement. Maybe you're realizing you take things personally way too much. Letting other people's moods control your own.
Time to bring out that shield visualization, deflect that negativity, protect my inner peace.
Right. Or maybe you're realizing you jump to conclusions all the time, creating unnecessary drama in your relationships. Time to get curious. Start asking more questions. Express your needs directly.
Clarity over chaos. I like that. And through it all, celebrate those little victories.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Acknowledge how far you've come. Be patient with yourself. Be kind when you stumble. This isn't a race. It's a lifelong journey of becoming more aware, more conscious.
Speaking of that journey, what would you say is the most important thing for listeners to remember about the new dream, that personal heaven on earth that Ruiz talks about?
It's not some far-off place you got to earn. It's not about, everyone being perfectly happy all the time. It's about finding that inner peace and joy no matter what's going on around you.
So even if the world feels crazy, I can still create my own sense of peace.
You got it. You have the power to choose love over fear, kindness over judgment, connection over isolation. The real transformation happens inside, and then it ripples outward.
And Ruiz even tells us to visualize it, right? Close our eyes and really imagine what that personal heaven looks and feels like.
I want to leave you with that invitation. What would your heaven on earth look like? What kind of life would you be living if these agreements were your guiding principles? Just sit with that for a moment.
What would it feel like to move through the world with that kind of freedom, that joy?
Remember, you already have everything you need to create it. It starts with a choice, a commitment to aligning your life with these agreements. And who knows, maybe you'll start experiencing little glimpses of heaven on earth along the way.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep believing in the power of these agreements to change your life.